And we didn't have them. The reason we didn't have them is, being a Baptist minister, Bones didn't make a lot of money, but he was good at scalping the tickets. So he had scalped the players' participant passes. Now, the problem with that is we can't get in to play the game. We're already in uniform. He knew we didn't need a locker room. That's what his plan was. We're just going to go in the door and go up on the court. So they have to go find Bones, and of course he's in there trying to sell the tickets. And they finally get him out, and he thinks he's a big man. Bones 6'8", and he's going to intimidate this little man that was going to, he said, I'll tell you one thing. He said, if you don't let my team in, there'll be no damn game tonight. Now that's thinking out of the box. And the guy said, I don't care if they don't have the tickets, they don't get in. Bones said, put them back on the bus. So we get back on the bus. And we had another little lay minister guy used to drive the bus. He'd been drinking all afternoon. Now, he thought we won. He was ready to celebrate. So he takes us around the block. And we come back, and Bones is standing there in the bitter cold. This is, basketball season. Follow me, boys. And he takes us around to the back of Reynolds Coliseum. And he knew there was a laundry chute there. And we snuck into the game through the laundry chute. Now we're into the game. Now we think we're going to go for the locker room. We don't need a locker room. Here's the strategy for tonight. Now my father was a coach. I knew the game even though I was a sophomore. He said, we've got a better team than Carolina. Well, give us that great inspiration. We got a better 5 than they've got. We don't have a better team, but we got a better 5. So what we're going to do is this. We're only going to play half a game. So when we go up there and get that opening tap, and there was no clock back in those days, he said, I want you, Packer, if we get the tap, you hold the ball. We're not going to play the first half. We're just going to hold it. Now here, you can imagine, you're a group of kids, you can't wait to play against this great team from the University of North Carolina and beat them and destroy them and move into the top 10. And here we are going to stand there and hold the ball. And we did. Now I think the score, and don't hold me to this, is like 4-2 at halftime. Now we go back down, and we're kind of annoyed because we want to show Coach that we can do something. Why is he afraid to let us go out there and play this team? And we get down in the locker room, and Bones said, I'll tell you one thing. We got a better team than they have. Here's why we only played a half a game. The fans hate us. They all want North Carolina to win. What's really important, those damn referees want them to win. Now, if we play a whole game, we're going to be in foul trouble. We play a half game, and those bastards can't foul us out in a half a game. So let's go up there and play the way we know how and kick their ass. And that's exactly what happened. Thinking out of the box. Thinking out of the box. And we won the game and the championship. Now I'm thinking today, how do we think out of the box a little bit in some of the situations that we're in? I'm going to take unemployment. I'm going to think out of the box. We got to get, Mr. Axelrod, we got to get your people to think out of the box, all right? Unemployment right now, a little bit under 8% and rising. Full employment in America, and I don't mean in Cleveland because I realize you've been hit harder than other places, but I'm talking about in the global picture here, all right? Full employment's a little bit 4%. So we only really got about 3.5% of people if you want to get down to full employment. So here's my plan. As of today, no one can be fired. No one at any company in America. Now, you say, oh, this is ridiculous. Now I'm going to send you home to Charlotte, North Carolina. Here's my plan. Charlotte, North Carolina, we had a bank called Wachovia. Recognized by everybody, even as late as 6 months ago, as one of the great banking institutions in America. As we know now, it does not exist. Wells Fargo's coming in. Wells Fargo says they're going to have to dump 10,000 employees in the Charlotte market. Unheard of. Now let's think about that. That's about 8% of the workers with what's now going to be the Wachovia Bank. Wells Fargo Bank. How about if we do this? No, nobody's going to get fired, Wells Fargo. Everybody presently working is going to take an 8% pay cut. All of us. We're going to take away this anxiety of which guy is it that's going to get laid off? Is he my neighbor? Is he my best friend? Is he the guy that I work with? No, we're all going to take an 8% hit. And what we're going to do is this. We're going to say that makes the bank inefficient. No, no, no. We take the 8% hit, so there's no more money going to have to go out compared to what the bank was thinking about. But here's what we're going to do with those 10,000 people. Guess what about those 10,000 people? Maybe the bank doesn't need them for efficiency right now, but every one of them more than likely, 99% of them are college graduates or MBA guys or ladies. All of them are computer trained. All of them have management skills or know how to take management. So what does Charlotte need right now because of tough times within the community? We need help in the police force. We need help in education. We need help with senior citizens. We need help in parks and recreation. I'm going to give to the city of Charlotte, Wells Fargo, because everybody in my group is willing to take a hit. I'm going to give to Charlotte 10,000 workers, great workers that know what to do, that want to have some pride in what they do, and their fellow employees are behind them, because we're going to make Charlotte in 1 year the best educational system in America. We're going to have the best senior citizen program in America. We're going to have probably the healthiest town. We're going to do more for underprivileged. We're going to do more for young kids. We're going to take these 10,000 people. We're going to put them to work because all of us were willing to take an 8% pay cut. Now, you start doing that around the United States. I don't care if it's Wells Fargo or whether it's Johnny Jones's company. And all of a sudden, we find out that America lifts itself right up from the ground. Right up from the ground, because we're all in this thing together. So that's thinking out of the box a little bit. I'm going to go back to Dean Smith. You've all heard of Dean Smith. He was so successful in the late 60s and early 70s. 3 straight Final Fours, incredible coach. And all of a sudden you have 15 scholarships in those days. And he's getting 15 outstanding players on his team. But you know what? You can't play with 15 players. You know, maybe you can play with 8. Maybe you can utilize 10. But God, he had 15 guys, all of which the final 5 of that 15 could play on almost any college team. Now, what's going to happen to those guys? They're going to be disgruntled. You know, what are they going to do in practice? They're going to bitch. They're not going to play. They're going to bitch. I should be playing. I'm not going to play. They're disgruntled. The fans don't even know who they are. When they walk on campus, hey, you don't get to play. So what does he do? He comes up with a thing called the Big Blue Team. And he gets the 5 guys that would normally be on the end of the bench, and they work together as a unit. And in effect, they're going to play in every game. They don't go to the game and wait till the end to find out, well, if we're winning by enough, he's going to put us in. Oh, no, no, no. They went in the first half. And they had a game plan in which they're going to play 2, 3, 4 minutes. And all of a sudden, they become part of the team. They're part of the club. They have an instrumental role to play. And you know what? All of a sudden, the fans celebrate these guys. Their teammates celebrate these guys, and they have a role to play. He took a situation that was bad and turned it into a situation that was great. Working outside the box. How do I utilize what I have? In his particular case, he had too much. But he made it work so that everybody became more efficient and proud to be a team member. So we talk about unemployment. I hit that out of the box. Now, I'm involved in real estate. Let's talk about housing. You know, if you've got a lever long enough, you can move the world. And in housing, if I said today, no one can be foreclosed upon. I don't care whether you own a house or whether, like in my particular case, you're a real estate developer, you cannot be foreclosed upon. All of a sudden, I realize, and this town would know about it more than anybody, what it's like to be on the verge or already have lost your home. I don't have a place to live. But if all of a sudden I could say to everybody in your community, when you go home tonight, you have a house to live in. Now, everybody can afford something. That's why I'm saying that leverage is long enough. And if they can't, there's going to be subsistence. Certainly the federal government's going to be helping in a different way. When I bought my first home, I had about $800 in the bank. And obviously, my wife and I, we had a child. I have no ability to buy that house. Everybody pretends like this is a whole new phenomenon. I've been out of college 2 years. I'm making $8,200 a year. But we find a place that's for sale. And the agent said, well, Billy, you can't make the down payment. He said, but here's what we'll let you do. We'll let you rent the house with an option to buy. And as you move along a little bit, maybe you get an opportunity to have enough set aside, and we'll let a percentage of what you have in that rent apply to your purchase price down payment a couple of years from now. That's how I bought my first house. Now, what happens instead of a guy who, in effect, can't afford now and doesn't get foreclosed? Oh, he loses his equity. None of us want to lose our equity. But I have a place to live. And I can work out a deal. I have a banker sitting in front of me. I don't care who in this room has a situation in regard to real estate. I can create a term in which you can exist. And that's thinking out of the box. Now, what does that do? Pride in home ownership. What's the reverse of that? And you people see it in your communities. Crime. You get people out of their houses and neighborhood, crime increases. The pride of ownership in a home goes down. The neighborhood goes down. The city then has to pick up the pieces. Then the federal government has to set up the pieces. That's no way to go. You can think out of the box and make it work.